Are you looking for a new, interesting, and adventurous way to cook your eggs? I have the perfect solution for you here. This is my light shakshuka, a delicious North African dish where you cook your eggs in a flavorful tomato sauce. You won't believe how easy this is to make. Even more, you won't believe how delicious it is, or how low in bites, points, and calories. So if you'd like to see how this is done, stick around because it's coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name's Roy. I'm a home cook, amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now today is one of mine. It is my take on a classic shakshuka, which if you've never heard of it before, I'm not surprised. It's not really a common dish. Some people have heard of it, some people have not. When I posted this on my social media, I had some people asking what it was and some saying how much they love it. So you could fall into either category, but either way, this is going to be delicious. What shakshuka is basically eggs cooked in tomatoes. And I know it might sound a little odd. I thought it was when I first tried it, but it is so good. This comes from North Africa, Tunisia specifically, but it has spread across the Middle East. I know in Israel they say that they have it for dinner instead of breakfast, but you could have it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I'm just glad it made its way here to the United States so that we could try it. Okay, so let us go over the ingredients. I have here my cooking spray, of course. Here I have a 15-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Now, the last time I made it, I couldn't find a 15-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, so I used tomato puree. The tomato puree was too thick. You need the crushed tomatoes. So, since 15-ounce cans of crushed tomatoes are so difficult to find, I did add in the recipe that this will come to 1 3/4 cups. Now this is serving 2, which is why I'm not using the entire can. If you were making it for more, you could use the entire 28-ounce can and just double all of the other ingredients. Here I have 1 small onion that has been chopped. You don't want too small of a chop on it. You want to get some of that texture from it. And 1 small is about half a medium or about 1/4 of a large. So, but you can do it to your taste. Jennifer Lynn, I know you don't like onion, so feel free to leave it out. You could also change it up for scallions if you prefer that. I have here 1/2 of a large red pepper, and that I've just chopped up to match the size of the onions because they will be going in together first. I have here 4 eggs. Typically I just crack them right in there, but I figured for the ease of making the video, I would just have them ready to go into the pan when that time comes. I have here 1/4 cup of fat-free feta. Now I use Athenos, but I did also find another brand, Cafe Olympia, that has the same bites or points as the Athenos, which is lower than the President. If all you can find is the President fat-free feta, then that's fine. It may alter the bites or points. It may not. I'm not sure, because we're only using 1/4 cup, so it probably won't affect it too much. Definitely won't affect it too badly. I have here 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley. If you wanted to use dried, you would use half as much, and you would add it in with the other spices, so that way it has a chance to reconstitute. I have here 2 teaspoons of garlic. Actually, it's a little bit more because we do like garlic here, so feel free to play around with that. Here I have 3/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Now you could use regular paprika, you could even use hot paprika if you wanted. I like the smokiness that this gives to the dish, so I'm opting for, and in the recipe I am recommending smoked, but if it's plain paprika, that's fine. I have here 3/4 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of table salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and I have here a pinch of chili flakes. I'm actually using Korean chili flakes. You could use red pepper flakes. You could use a little cayenne. You could use regular chili powder if you don't want anything that's too spicy. This Korean chili flake just adds a little bit of background heat, but also a touch of sweetness. So I can get away with using a little bit in this dish with Paul, who's not a spicy food fan. Now, hiding in the back over here, I have about 1/2 can of spinach that I've just drained a lot of the juice from. I was going to try to find a small can of spinach, but just like the crushed tomatoes in a 15-ounce can, small cans of spinach are also a little difficult to come by, at least by me. But that is an optional ingredient. You don't have to add this. I'm adding it for a little bit of vegetable in here. But you could also add some peas and carrots, some cauliflower might be good. But if you're using frozen, which I would probably recommend, I would take them out to thaw, or even thaw them a little bit in the microwave first, because they won't be in this pan for too long. So they won't really have time to cook if you go from fresh. But you can also cook them in a separate pan and add them to it. You have options. All right, so I have all the ingredients. I have my pan heating up. Let me switch a few things around and we'll get started. Okay, so I have my pan here heating up. I am using a 10-inch pan because I'm only making this for 2. If you were making it for more, you'd probably want a larger pan, but this will suffice for what I need. And you also want to make sure that you have a lid that can go on top of it, because once we add in the eggs, we are going to cover it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, we have to spray this down with some cooking spray. Then I'm going to add in the onion and the red pepper. And this is over medium-high heat so that we can get a little bit of color and soften these veggies. Now I'm going to stir these together, spread them out, and let them cook, stirring occasionally for about 10 minutes so that they can soften and get the color that I was talking about. And then we will move on. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. You can see that they've gotten some nice color on them and they've softened up quite a bit. Now I'm going to add in all of our spices: smoked paprika, cumin, salt, pepper, and the chili. And we're just going to stir that together to get those spices heating up and really activating in there. So now we're going to add in our garlic and toss that through and just give that about 30 seconds for it to become fragrant. That helps to take any of the bitterness away from the garlic. Now what we're going to do is add in our tomato, our crushed tomato. It will splatter a bit, so do be careful. And I'm going to reduce this down to medium so that it can still bubble, but hopefully not splatter too much. So now what we want is for a lot of the moisture in the tomatoes to evaporate and help us thicken up this sauce. That's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes, so I'll be back when we're ready to move on. Okay, so it's been about 16 minutes or so, and it's starting to get thick enough that we can work with it. You can see I'm pushing the tomato aside and it's leaving a trail. That's when you know it's thick enough. I'm going to add in my spinach and just stir that through. Now this is when you would add in any vegetables that you wanted. I thought spinach would be a good addition. I just opened up the fridge a minute ago and saw that I had some leftover chickpeas. Those would be great in here too. So you don't have to stick with what I'm doing. I'm just going to stir this spinach through and also allow it to heat up, and then spread this back out. So now what you want to do to cook your eggs, we're going to make little divots in the tomato sauce. I'm going to use the back of this. You could use the back of a regular spoon. Just something to make a little dimple in here to let the egg rest while it cooks. Just a little spot so it's not going to be spreading out into its neighbor's little well. And then we're going to take each egg and put it in one of the divots. Okay, so now to let our eggs cook, there are some recipes that have you put it into a 375-degree oven. for about 20 minutes. But I think it's just easier to just have it over medium heat, stick a cover on it. What you're basically doing is creating its own little oven in there. This way it'll take, I think, about 7 minutes or so. It depends on how you like your eggs done. I like to make sure that the whites are totally set, but the yolk is still a little runny. So I'm gonna let this sit here for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And I will show you what it looks like when we get there, and also how long it took. Okay, so it's actually only been about 4 minutes, and I think they are perfectly set the way I want them. So I'm going to take off the lid, turn off the heat. Now our last step is we're going to sprinkle over our fat-free feta, and just sprinkle that all over everywhere. And our 2 tablespoons of parsley. But there you have it, my light shakshuka, delicious for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We are having it for dinner tonight, so through the magic of YouTube, I also made some pork chops and some rice to go along with it. But breakfast is great. You can serve it with pita, English muffin, some toast. You can serve it with rice. You can serve it as you like. It is really very tasty. Now, for the nutrition facts, you're really gonna like this. 0 bites for half of this. As I said, this is for 2, so you get 2 eggs and the sauce, 0 bites, 0 blue points. I'm on the Healthy Better Balanced plan, which is equivalent to the old WW Blue plan, so those are the bites and points that I give. Now, if you're following calories, the calories would be 258, definitely not bad. And if you're following macros, the fat would be 9.7 grams. The carbs would be 21.8 grams. The fiber would be 5 grams. And the protein would be 20.4 grams for 1/2 of this pan. But it's very easy, delicious, so I hope you will try it. You can find the recipe for this on my blog. I will link directly to this recipe down below. Also down there you'll find links to my blog, so if you are looking for any of my other recipes, that's where you'll find them. My Amazon storefront, my Built Bar rewards, my Fetch rewards, and my social media, both Instagram and Facebook groups. Speaking of which, if you follow me on Facebook and in the groups, I don't think I shared it on Instagram because I forgot to hit that little button to transfer it to Instagram, of course. I was experimenting the other day with making my own sugar-free cake mix because I didn't like that the box had so many bites or points just for what I was getting. And so I was wondering if there was a way I could make my own. And if you saw the post, you know that it worked. And I have the result right here. And you can see, nice and spongy, light. It was very moist. I know some people don't like that word for some reason, but wet sounds even worse when you're talking about a cake. But this was really great. So I've written that recipe up and it is on the blog. You can make a big batch. I tell you how much you need for a cake. I tell you how to prepare that cake. And if you want to make a gift for this Christmas, it'd make a great gift to pack that up in a nice little jar or container and give the directions to someone you know who would appreciate a sugar-free cake mix. But I will be showing you that in a video coming up very soon. I have a lot of things coming up. I have a Hawaiian dream cake that many of you may have seen on social media. I have maple apple pork chops that are coming up. So definitely make sure that you hit that notification bell so that when those things come up, you know about it. And also, if you wouldn't mind doing the usual like, subscribe, comment, share, I would really appreciate that. That'll help my channel to grow and hopefully let me do more of this for you guys. So I'm gonna get our dinner on our plates. We are gonna be having a delicious meal tonight. So until next time, bye.